Recording. 3 channels started.
Hey, I was just able to restart the car and the alternator now because I can read the volts on the cigarette lighter adapter. Thankfully, it says 14.1, which means it's charging. So I'm honestly just going to sit here for a little bit, and as long as it's charging, I should be okay. Maybe it just got wet. I don't know. Wow, look how dirty it is in here. Look at the mud all over the seat. I got my jumper cables out. My battery just died, but it really wasn't the battery. Well, what I think happened is mud must have gotten the alternator or something, all this splashing, and I got the battery warning, and suddenly on the dash it was like, turn the vehicle off, blah, blah, blah. You could see all the mud on the hood. So I don't know if I got mud in the alternator. It's not like I was going through a bunch of puddles or anything, but it should be able to handle that. I read anecdotally online that if you splashed it too much, like the alternator can get swirly. I stopped the car and waited a little bit, and thankfully I have a volt reader down here. So that says 14.1, but when I started the car, it was only, or when it died, it was like 11 point something. So the alternator was not working for some time. Of course, I wasn't paying attention. Why should you? But Lexus, it did give the low battery warning. So, and of course, I didn't bring the Vantrue battery jumper kit that I just got from Vantrue, which I should have. So now I'm going to keep that thing in the car. I don't care if it sets it on fire. So I got 14 volts. Everything's back on, so I'm getting charged. So I'm just going to sit here and let it recharge the battery a little bit, hopefully. I just have it idling. I'm sort of in the middle of nowhere. I've only seen that one truck way back an hour ago on the trail. And so, yeah, this is where I'm at. Let's take a look outside. So we'll show you what the car looks like. It's a little windy out here. So, extreme use. So battery looks fine. I believe the alternator's down in the V, and maybe water, too much water got back there. Now it's skidded underneath. There's skids underneath, so that shouldn't be, shouldn't be getting up from below. But again, we're getting this thing wet. Hopefully it's just a fluke. So I'm going to put this engine cover back on. Still got a ways to go to civilization. But yeah, definitely definitely have some sort of charging kit, because there's nobody out today. Of course, whenever it happens when nobody's around. Murphy's Law. Alright, so I'm going to let this thing idle. I'm going to put the engine cover back on because I don't see anything to do there. And we'll see how far we can continue here. So it's been idling for a few minutes now. It's at 14 volts. Nice and muddy, the way it's supposed to look. So I don't know what happened. Hopefully the battery's not damaged. That's what I'm more concerned about now that I've got it started. I don't want any damage to be done to the Panasonic battery. But if anything could take it, a Panasonic will. Why the alternator went out, let me know in the comments if you know. My only guess is water inside the alternator, caused the alternator to stop working. So it's charging for now, so I'm going to try my best to skip these puddles, though it's so tempting. But I also have to get home too, so there's been not a soul around here, and even though it's the weekend, nobody's around. So let's see how I make it. I put the hood latch, or the hood back on, and she's a muddy mess. But if you want to know how dirty you got to get your Lexus to stop it? I don't know. Now, there's no way this hasn't been done before. People slam these things through mud, so let me know in the comments, people who've thrashed through the mud, what's going on with the alternator. Is just a little hiccup, or is there a bigger issue? I don't know. I'll research it when I get back. Anyway, let's see how far we can get. And carry your battery jumper. That would have saved my butt. I barely got this thing started with the juice it had left in the battery to get the alternator going, but it barely had enough juice to get going. 14 volts. Well, alrighty then. Okay, so I just was able to restart the car again, and we're moving now on what little juice it has. And now I'm paranoid about the alternator, though. It's showing 14.1 when I was idling. Now it's coming down to like 13.9. So hopefully the alternator was just squirreled out there and needed a timeout. Let me put my I'm just gonna center lock up again. 13.8 volts. So that was a little dramatic and scary. So I hope I make it home, because that's not how I wanted to do things today. So, but that's all part of the adventure. 13.9. Now I'm going to be like absolutely obsessive about this alternator. And I know I said I wasn't going to splash through any more puddles to do the alternator wrong again, but I've already splashed through like 2 more puddles, so. That's why they call it adventure. So I took out my jumper cables in case somebody passed by, but of course nobody did. Again, Murphy's Law, you're not going to see anybody on the trail. Internet and phone was spotty. I just was able to get out a few messages when the cell phone service cut in and out there, but 13.9. But that was kind of lucked out, because we're up here in the mountains now. We see all the pretty snow, and so I lucked out there with the cell phone service. I was able to tell my wife that I was stuck and I might be spending the night up here in the mountains, because the battery's dead, because the alternator apparently decided to stop working for who knows how long when I was splashing through puddles back there. But it's working now, and you know, you need the alternator to drive the car. So, you know, in case you're, you know, if you're not mechanically inclined, the alternator, you could start the car, remove the battery, the thing will run on the alternator. But if the opposite is wrong, your battery's okay, but your alternator's broke, even if you jump the car, if the alternator's dead, your fuel injection system, you know, your coils aren't going to be able to fire that high voltage current on battery alone. So, bottom line is, you need to have your alternator working to, you know, to make it so you can drive. So I'm hoping this alternator holds out. Otherwise, I believe this Lexus is still under warranty, but I do believe Lexus may not be open to a warranty claim based on the look of this Lexus GX460, and if I pull in with all this mud, here comes a Jeep. I think it's a Wrangler. Put a bunch of lights on. Just gonna put my windows down so I can see better, because they're all caked in mud. 13.9 on the alternator, so we're still doing good. So this is the second vehicle we've seen in what, an hour? I thought I saw them. Am I seeing things? This is where it gets windy, so this is going to be switchback. Look at that pretty snow up there. Stop raining. I don't have to wipe the lens anymore. That's fun. Cool. Nice Jeep. All right, so yeah, I don't know what happened there. I try to think how an alternator could work, and all I could think of is, you know, I don't know, really. I said I wasn't going to go any puddles, but I just did. No, I mean, it's all just coils and magnets. So I don't understand what could happen. But hopefully, you know, the mud will dry to dirt and dust. And the dirt and dust will clear out of whatever it's in. And everything will work. So I know I'm rambling. I hope everything's okay. Wishful thinking. Right now, I just want to make sure I get home okay. And the lesson for me today and the lesson for you is going to be, do not leave home without that battery start. Now, as I was just done saying, the alternator squirreled up. So what good would a battery jumper have done me there? Well, it would have helped restart the car to then make the alternator work once it was done drying out or squirreling out. If that makes any sense. So I was, again, just able to restart the car on 11.8 volts or whatever was left in the battery. But had I had the jumper, that would have helped me out, and I would have been able to restart it. I don't know how many times you can restart a vehicle with those things, but it would have taken the starting load off the already dead, or shall we say flat battery, as I'm trying to restart it and then thus restart the alternator charging process. I hope that made sense to everybody. If not, what I want to say is carry carry one of those Chinese charge packs. You just saw why. Now, Lexus did give a warning. When I say Lexus, I mean the display did give a low battery warning, so I'm sure that's equivalent to the old school battery is getting low logic, your old school battery light on cars. So what that means is hopefully that the programmed logic realized that the alternator's not charging, turn off the car, and alerted me before it damaged the Panasonic battery. Again, these are just my hopes. Yeah, if Lexus designed it smartly, then that would have been what happened, and you know, me restarting in the car back there would have been, you know, squeezing the Panasonic battery a little tight around the neck for a moment, but it should, in theory, be able to handle it. If not, I guess I'm getting another battery, and I'm not getting a Panasonic, not because I don't want one, because they don't make them, they don't import them in America anymore. These are one and done dealer stuff. But as you can see through this beautiful windingness, and the sun's coming out, which is cool, there's a lot of trail left. So always tell somebody where you're going. Ow! And you know, when you should be back, digital breadcrumbs, you can do live map tracking, all this sort of stuff, to let someone know where you're going. Oh, there's another truck. Let's get in front of them. It's a Tundra. Okay, thank you. All right, that was a Tundra. So, you know, I can't imagine getting back to the alternator. What would be going wrong other than a squirrely fluke? Because these things are thrashed and mudded and tested in mud around the world. This is what I'm doing, splashing through some mud is definitely not the worst of what I've seen people doing with GX 460s or Land Cruiser Prados in the world market. And again, we're talking a Denso alternator. And so we're talking a really good alternator. So, ow, I gotta push my trust in Toyota and Denso here. Though it's not fun looking back and forth. I have a little voltmeter on the cigarette plug. Yeah, it's just a normal cigarette adapter that I'm looking at, and it has a digital readout. Yeah, it reads through the cigarette lighter what the battery voltage is. But it's not the most relaxing looking at. Looking at the voltage every 2 seconds being paranoid, but I'll feel much better once I get on the road. And I have cell phone service. I break down anywhere down there, it's all good because obviously there's roadside assistance, cell phone service, AAA, people to jump you. But I did feel better seeing that Tundra behind me. He could always jump me. You know, but that Tundra has got the same type of V8 engine that this has. You know, it's just a bigger version of this V8 engine, the 5.7 V8 with the alternator in the same spot in between the V. So I'm gonna try my best not to overthink it. So let's carry on here. We're gonna get up into the snow a little bit on the tip top of the mountain. And then once we get to the absolute top of the mountain, we can head all the way back down in the desert where it'll go from a freezing 36 degrees back down to about 70 degrees.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yeah. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
So what happened up there on the mountain? Did Toyota and Lexus let me down? What happened? Well, we were stranded, albeit only for about 10 minutes, but technically we were stranded. Thankfully, the amazing OEM Panasonic battery had just enough juice in reserve after letting it sit for about 10 minutes to slowly crank over that starter, enough for the ignition to catch and the alternator to take over. So what happened? My presumption is some mud or something got in the alternator and made it act squirrely temporarily. We all know mud and alternators don't mix. And on this Toyota, the alternator is down low, or excuse me, this Lexus, the alternator is down low at the bottom. Our older Toyotas, like our old 95 Camry, that alternator was so high it almost touched the hood when you closed it. So you can say what you will about the placement of the OEM alternator, but it's been that way for decades. Some people reported problems, some people don't. This could just be a fluke, I don't know. We tested the battery when we got back, and directly by probing the battery with a voltmeter, we got 12.7 volts at the battery, which according to Lexus is fully charged. Lexus in the owner's manual says anything over 12.3 volts surface voltage, that is voltage after 20 minutes or more with the car off, anything higher than 12.3 volts is good to go. Anecdotal battery charts online say 12.7, 12.6, 12.5, they vary as full. So the battery over the, we've been testing it for almost 5 days now, has been good. So it's good. We also have a voltmeter inside that we've been looking at that's just a little add-on voltmeter that plugs into your cigarette lighter, and that's off by about 0.2 volts. So any reading I got in the car, such as when I was on the mountain, I said, oh, it's getting whatever voltage is, you got to add 0.2 to that. So that's a good thing because it was getting, the alternator is charging a little bit higher than what I thought when I was up there on the mountain coming down. So bottom line, the alternator's working and the battery's still good to go. This, of course, is the thing I wish I had bought. This is the Van True battery pack. And, of course, this is just a bunch of lithium-ion batteries and more than enough power to go ahead and jump the battery in that case. Because, again, we had about, I don't know how many times I would have been able to start that battery on that low amount of juice it had left in the Panasonic battery. But this would have saved the day. So this now is going to live in the back of this GX, whether we're going, up on a mountain or not. It's just going to live there because I don't want to go through that again, especially when there's something that's available and I had laying around. I just forgot to bring it. But that's life. That's the adventure. That's what happens. So that's all part of it. Now, as far as the battery goes, when you discharge a battery like that, in other words, when the battery got close to dying, like we did up on the mountain, and then you go ahead and recharge it. Once we got it started, it's charging fast. You want to check the battery electrolyte, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm actually going to get in there and take a closer look. I took a cursory look days ago at it, and the levels seemed good when I just looked at the case. But I'm actually going to open the caps, take a closer look, and make sure that water level is good, because when you discharge them deeply, they end up burning off or boiling off, or whatever you want to call it. The chemical reaction happens and it gases off, bottom line. And that electrolyte level or water level gets lower. Same thing when you bulk charge it. In other words, when this battery is dead on the mountain, we got it started, and now it's sending a lot of juice, so to speak, to the battery to charge it. It's kicking out 14 maximum alternator output to try to charge this battery, bulk charge. That too is going to deplete that electrolyte. So that's why I want to kind of go back and check it again and make sure everything's A-okay. Now that we've taken readings on the battery and it seems to be good, and the alternator output is good. So we're going to triple check that, and as long as there's distilled water over those plates, I'm calling it good to go. Now, what could be done to prevent this to happen again? I don't know. Now, it is modified, meaning we just cut the bumper on this thing, and there's skid plates underneath of it which do kind of protect the alternator, but admittedly we're not in the OEM setup, and I completely forget what that's like. I know there's plastic undercoverings and this and that. That may have helped, with protecting the alternator from water and splashing, But I don't know. I honestly don't remember what that OEM setup looked like. With that said, the alternator is protected by these RCI skids that we have under here. When you look under it, it's hard to spot the alternator. So I just think, honestly, we got lucky and just threw all those ridiculous puddles, which were ridiculous, but it's not outside the realm of off-roading or normal off-roading. We're just having some fun in the puddles, not, you know, going across rivers and lakes, just splashing in puddles. So I honestly think it's a fluke. Mud got in the wrong place, maybe in between the brushes on the armature, you know, between the rings and the brushes, and, you know, couldn't, you know, do its thing. I don't know. The point is, I'm not going to overthink it. When I go down there and look at the alternator itself, I don't see anything egregious. It's not mud caked up around it. So I think it just, we just got lucky, so to speak, and we just got this fluke. And, you know, running, if we had had this, jumped it, and spun the alternator, would have flung out whatever was in there, or the brushes would have wore away whatever mud or grit was in between them and the rings, the copper rings, and we would have been good to go. The good news is it's a Denso alternator and a Panasonic battery. Denso makes the best alternators. I know that's funny to say when they almost got us stranded on a mountain. But in its defense, it's working, and it worked. After one restart, the alternator just sprung back to life. So I'll be babysitting the alternator a little bit with the onboard voltmeter in the next, just on-road, off-road, just in general. But I'm going to try not to overthink it. But I will have an eye on it. But I do think it's a fluke, and I'm still happy that it's a Denso. I wouldn't want to replace it with anything else. Could I fabricate something on the RCI skids to kind of, I don't know, deflect water or something? Maybe I could do that down the road. But for now, I'm just going to try to, you know, avoid those deep, ridiculous puddles, and if I go through them, go slower so it's less splashing around into the alternator. This alternator and mud thing is a thing on all makes and models, Jeeps, this, that, and the other. Even if the alternator is up high, if it gets there, it just is what it is. So it's kind of a balance when you off-road, how much splish splashing you're going to do and running through mud versus the risk to your alternator. It just is what it is for most vehicles. What do you see it as a fault? That's up for you to decide. Yeah, I'd like it not to be that way, obviously, but you know, it is what it is. So I got to deal with that. I'm going to be more conscientious of mud, not water, because these things run in rain and snow all over the road. It's the mud. I'm going to be more conscientious of muddy water getting in that alternator from now on. But let's get to the batteries now. All right, so it's the next morning. I checked the battery. Everything's good. It's all back to normal, and everything's good. So the fluid level was great. So again, at night, it's easier to see your battery electrolyte. So that's why I waited till nighttime to check it. And it's easier to see the electrolyte, bottom line, and everything looks good. They're all topped up. It's all level. So the alternator's good, at least so far, and the battery fluid is good, and the voltages of the alternator and battery are good. So that's it for now. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks, and have a great day.